Hi everybody, well, this hangout was on Sun and Moon last night, and most of it is Donald here, and there's Artist talking, and there's Joe talking, and the others are quiet, but about the Stan Mars experiment and his bit in it, and how he didn't actually meet Stan Mars, but he helped deal with the car afterwards. So that whole hangout is on Sun and Moon. But in the middle of it, Artist got into this, and it so interests me because everybody has this idea that, oh, they look like tree stumps, the mountains and stuff like that. When actually it's something completely different that's happened. It's electrical arkings, and Artist explains it very quickly here, how it happens. So please watch this video. Yeah, the whole place has been hit with these enormous great electrical arkings and a positive and a negative strike, like in the land and out the land.
Yeah.
And which is the bit where the trees grow, Artist? Lots of trees go around one of them.
Most of the time I think it's the zone, the strike zone actually. So you have a positive, just like those Lindenberg. Yeah, just like those Lindenberg figures. Maybe you know them, those Lindenberg. I can maybe show a picture of them. Basically, in the zone of those Lindenberg figures, and often also in the discharge that is actually make the ground sink down. That's where the trees are most of the time on the mountains. There is the iron-rich minerals, or they are certain kind of metals are into the mountain and often in the sinkhole or the crater, you can call it also. That's where the trees are often. And also in the strike zone itself is most of the time did some research and also watched some YouTube videos that actually in that zone is where the most trees are often, not always, but often. And the highest trees are in that area. So for some reason, because that area attracts minerals and metals, it also probably attracts the soil that trees can grow on better. So it fertilizes the ground.
Thanks for that, Artist. Thank you for that. Yeah, anyway, we're learning and growing, and Artist has been finding all this stuff out. It's amazing.
Well, you already know about those electrical discharges I talked about. So yeah, you can see them all over the Earth. So that's very interesting. You probably saw my presentations on it, I think, Don.
What was that?
You probably saw my presentation on those electrical discharges.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, I can give you in a short version. Otherwise, we will be more than a couple of hours. But basically, what I did some research about, I'm still going on. It's an ongoing thing on Chris Monkey's work. And you can see my screen probably.
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's fine. This is basically in the discharges in powdered sand, certain kinds of sand. And he did a Dr. C.J. Ransom did electrical discharge experiments in sand. So you can find more information on the internet about that. And you can see those electrical discharges look a lot like electrical discharges you can find on the Earth. This is another guy who did the experiments. This is William George Armstrong in the early 1800s. He did some electrical discharge in so also certain different kinds of sand and also different kinds of powdered metal, and also fuse those metals with sand, and then this discharges. So this is a positive and a negative. I don't know which actually the positive or negative, but I think this is the positive and this is the negative. And you can see with different kinds of sands and different kinds of powdered metal, you got different kinds of figures. Here, it also already looks like those certain kinds of discharges on the Earth. This almost looks like those Lindenberg figures. It can also looks like if you look at the mountain range, you can also see this kind of figures. This is another one, just some, it almost looks like a human eye. If you actually look at the human eye, it looks a lot like an electrical discharge in powdered sand and powdered.
That puts me in the mind of an amoeba, kinda.
Yeah, and you can see here all those. This is the human eyes basically, and all those nerves. And this is a Lindenberg figures. Basically, you can put apart a microwave and put clippings of the microwave and hook it up to the microwave system, and then you turn it on. And it's what is interesting that if you actually does this kind of Lindenberg discharge in the wood, actually when you spray soda over it, so you pour soda over it, it works better. The Coca-Cola works the best for some reason. So, and then you can get this electrical discharge, and the positive and negative will search for each other and meet at the end.
And it's, yeah, basically an electrolyte. The cola acts like an electrolyte.
Yeah. But it's interesting. This is also a Lindenberg figure. That's what they called. If you actually look in Egypt in the desert, here you have also very dark, round discharge, and actually you can see also the same shape here, and it also comes across, comes here one. And if the mountain is turned to rubble, you can see it's loose rubble. That this is actually the mountain. This mountain over here, it's actually this mountain. And then you can see there's no water over here. You can see those electrical discharge shapes all over the earth. Here, another one. Even in mountains. So maybe, yeah, this was also, maybe it can also be caused by the weathering of the water, but it also could be.
That's beautiful.
Electrical discharge, and because the electrical discharge carves out the rock, the water flows into that place because, yeah, that's the lowest part of the mountains. And this is actually underground. You also have the same type. If you look at caves under the ground, a lot, they also look a lot like those electrical discharge Lindenberg figures. And this is actually
like veins of the earth.
This is in South. Yeah. And this is in Botswana, Africa. It also looks, and again, because the water flows in this, because it's the lowest part, the water flows naturally in there. So most of the trees are there. This is another strike zone. This is this crater you can see is the Gooses Bluff crater in Australia. You can see those mountains. It's almost like a ripple effect. They push the side. And actually, this is a close-up of those of the Goose Bluff crater. And this is nearby. This is Mount Connor. You can see also, just like I showed before, with those discharges in sand, you have an outer rim. Then this is pushed up a bit down, and this mountain is basically in the middle, is pushed up again. Here it appears to be pushed out of the ground. And again, you can see a lot of trees on that surface and surrounded also, but most of the time, not always, of course, most of the times a lot of trees grow in that area. This is the distance. You can see the strike zone. You can see it's a very strange mountain range. And normally mountains don't look like this. Looks totally different. And here's that pushed up mountain. It is basically pushed down, so the positive and the negative discharge. Most of the time, the mountains that are pushed out of the ground are metal rich or mineral rich. This is near that site, very near. This is a gold mine near Mount Connor. It's the Nicholson fine gold mine. So again, near that area, there's a gold mine. This is just another example of a crater. This is the Wolf Creek crater. And this is nearby, again, mountains that appear to be pushed out of the ground. Near that Wolf Creek crater are, again, round this shape. You have always often near those electrical discharge boulders that are very round, or they almost look they were liquid at once. Like you can also melt metal And at one point, the metal, if you have metal that is basically powder, and you heat it, they turn into small balls, and then they basically attract each other. That's what it looks often when you heat metal. They first turn into balls, and then on big fluid mesh. And here you have around this side a lot of balls, and in this is in petrified forest, near the petrified forest in Arizona. You have all those mountains, but they are flattened at the top. So no pointy mountains, all flat. So they appear to be pushed out of the ground, just like the last one here. Then, yeah. And then near that you have all those petrified forests. So the electrical discharge.
Well, I hope that that helps you understand more about electrical strikings and what they do and what they cause, and it somehow pushes the land in at one end and pushes the land out another, and those arkings to make mountains would have to be quite big. But it seems that we were covered in these electrical arkings. Maybe that's the time Tartaria disappeared. But anyway, thanks for watching this video.